Once this touches him, the Emperor will rise to rule again. Finish him off.
It's not him. This is a eunuch.
Here we go again.
You're listening to Duck Dust FM. If you didn't know, or if you live outside of metropolitan Los Angeles,
You're in Los Angeles. But there was this gang of 10-year-olds with guns.
Exactly. You're in LA.
or enjoy your time off on a Sunday, then you probably didn't. The Oscars were the other day, and in a time where Hollywood needs a good redemption story, this wasn't even a step in the right direction. It was barely even a step at all. The Oscars may have been incrementally more bearable than the previous two unwatched and unwatchable shit shows, yet as the night dragged on, our hope that the slow ascent back to normalcy would infect Hollywood were once again dashed for another year, perhaps permanently. The show started with Jimmy Kimmel parachuting down from the F-18s that couldn't shoot down a hobby project. God, I wish he pulled a goose on this one. Yet, much to my surprise, the monologue wasn't as completely cringeworthy as I had imagined, for the most part. Not to say I was rolling on the floor or even chuckling, but it was better than awkward cringe fests like the Golden Globes or other recent shows. For ever brief of a second there, I thought Hollywood might start to tone down the politics and rhetoric and, make it about the movies or something. How wrong I was.
Diversity and inclusion.
So much better here with intellectuals, isn't it, boys?
As with most awards throughout the night, there weren't a whole lot of surprises. Ke Huy Quan, or as Ariane DeBose put it, probably one of the most likable guys in Hollywood, won for Best Supporting Actor as Everything Everywhere All at Once mopped up the major awards like it was Silence of the Lambs. There were some slight surprises, though. Brendan Fraser, another one of the most likable guys in the industry, finally completed one of Hollywood's greatest redemption arcs and got his first career Oscar for The Whale. His character's BMI index also won earlier in the night as well. I thought this was the right choice over Austin Butler, not just because Elvis was a terrible ADHD ayahuasca trip of a movie, but because despite the roughly close appearance, outside of the final scene, he never sold me as the king of rock and roll. He just looked like Austin Butler with black hair and a Vegas Strip impersonation. I was also surprised to find out Morgan Freeman was bald now and wears gloves, but not surprised to find out that he couldn't keep his eyes off Margot Robbie. Could you? Lady Gaga's last-second 180 on performing her Top Gun song in the same clothes I play pickup basketball in was also a pleasant surprise, unlike David Byrne's hot dog fingers. Perhaps the most unsurprising was the show itself. Even when you thought it changed slightly, nothing really did. Many jokes were made about the infamous slap to varying degrees of success, while Kimmel's stale political jokes had about as much audience engagement as the Oscars' ratings. Elizabeth Banks, suffering from some of the worst coke throat drip I've seen, attempted a lame gag with a guy dressed in a cocaine bear suit, no doubt played by an actor who spoke out against the agenda and needed some forced public humiliation. Didn't have to drag Malala into this bullshit. You couldn't tell where the broadcast ended and the commercials started.
And the nominees for Best Soft Drink Product Placement are...
Star Trek, the Pepsi generation. They call me Mr. Pibb. And Snow White and the 7-Ups.
Probably because a good portion were actually fucking commercials for Disney, Warner Brothers, the Academy Museum, and of course... Perhaps worst of all that bullshit was that they left Paul Sorvino out of the In Memoriam.
They treated me like a fucking jerk.
Yes, they did, Polly.
What category are they on?
They're giving out the minor technical awards. I think they were up to writing.
Women Talking, which was somehow more Oscar baity than Banshees of Inisherin, took home Best Adapted Screenplay, agreeably over absolute trash like Glass Onion, but ridiculously over industry savior Top Gun and war epic All Quiet on the Western Front. I know this category is based on the script and not the film itself, but as someone who watched the film, the script was atrocious. It managed to make an hour and a half feel like Avatar, and the dialogue feel like it was written by some sort of soulless ultra-feminist AI.
After lengthy femputations, I, Femputer, have decided the fate of the men.
The rest of the categories seemed to fall in line with what we knew for months, outside of the Academy for not throwing the best song at the feet of Rihanna just for showing up. You knew Everything Everywhere All at Once was going to win for months now, and it should have been for being inventive and unique as it was, among a flowing river of soil and sludge. Yet the Oscars turning its back on Top Gun shows a lot about the mindset of the industry. Modern Hollywood is a place where feelings come before objectivity, and not just in making the movies. Despite what the shills of the hills preach from their $10,000 a month WeHo pods, we are in a dark time in movie history. There are rare exceptions, but the general quality of movies today is perhaps the lowest it's been in decades, or perhaps ever. The cultural Overton window shifts where the bad becomes okay, the okay becomes fantastic, and the fantastic is wiped off the map and replaced at the bottom with complete and utter shit, seem to be going at a breakneck pace, and almost nobody is interested in slowing down or turning back at the moment. In a time where Hollywood gives out awards to something because it aligns with their views, or is the first for something because it makes them feel better, you'd think a film that, whether they like it or not, legitimately saved their entire industry would receive some sort of praise and consideration for as monumental a feat as that.
And the winner, instead of any of the nominees, is
Diversity and inclusion.
Alas, if one thing can overcome feelings in Hollywood, it's bias. Best Picture was never going to go to an unapologetically patriotic, well-made, and feel-good movie like Maverick, even if it didn't star Hollywood's last true movie star, Tom Cruise, because it represents everything modern Hollywood despises. If Hollywood completely had its way, I don't think it would have received a single nomination. In another year, even as recently as 2019 we might say, if a film like Maverick came out, it would be everything it was. It'd be a cool action flick that had its day at the box office, went away, and not be this cultural moment that it represented. Yet Maverick had the impact it had because it ran on a simple message in the form of doing exactly what Maverick did in the film. When being told that the mission is impossible, no pun intended, by the higher-ups, he basically says fuck you and shows them it can be done if done right, and that's a message that resonated with the millions that saw it. In any year pre-pandemic, would it have been nominated for Best Picture? Probably not. But would most of the films nominated this year also have been nominated? Also probably not. The Best Picture category is supposed to allegedly represent the 10 best films Hollywood has to offer for the past year. And while it's far from a perfect frame of reference, it's a good judge of the quality levels of films being made today, or pushed on us. We're forced to do something Hollywood hates. Understand things in their historical context, ultimately. Like this year, but certainly not every year prior, the Best Movie won. But what does that say about the era of cinema we're in? If you look at the state of the industry and outside paid publications, it's a grim time for film.
Like to be in Glass Onion. It was such an amazing film. I really loved it. I love a thriller. How fun is it to shoot something like that?
Well, I'm barely in it. I'm in it for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, but still, you showed up and you had fun, right?
Almost.
Okay, all right. Okay.
For an industry that, despite what every acceptance speech says, cares only about itself, it doesn't seem concerned with doing the very things that has kept it alive this long. TV, YouTube, and AI, and so on, aren't around the corner anymore. They're already here, and if nothing is done, film will go the way of radio. Hollywood can change as it has time and time again, but it won't move an inch without revolutionaries coming in and flipping the industry on its head with fresh and superb, entertaining films. It's free to go on with the speeches meandering and political pandering, but it might just be too late when they finally wake up and ask the public for one more chance at redemption.
Now I gotta turn my back.
We'll see. Fucking like and subscribe for duck's sake.
The Duke. Duck, I says.
I ain't gonna kill you. You're the only friend I got.